Well, follow me on this one. This is an interesting theory. I'm going to classify this as a theory. In these big metropolitan cities that we have, places like Los Angeles, Chicago, New York City, I've kind of long thought that, we complain oftentimes about the elected officials in these cities. All of us do. But I don't necessarily think it's fair to blame one person for managing these behemoth of cities. Yeah, the perfect example is Chicago. Chicago, one of the largest cities in the United States of America. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Chicago geography, nor you care to learn about the geography, you might want to tune out this portion. Anyway, I'll make it quick. Chicago has three sides to the city: the north side, the south side, and the west side. Now, you have one mayor in Chicago, right? One mayor for all that big city. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that one mayor can do the job in Chicago. No. I think you need multiple mayors to do that job in Chicago. Yeah. I think we're putting too much of a burden on one person to manage such a large population and area. Yeah, that's too much pressure. I call this the three-mayor Chicago theory. You need a mayor for each side of that city. That's what I believe. You need a mayor for the north side, a mayor for the south side, and a mayor for the west side. Yeah. And each mayor, now follow me on this, each mayor would do something specifically to improve and benefit their side of the city in competition with the other side of the city. Yeah. So, say for instance you had a north side mayor, a south side mayor, and a west side mayor. They would develop in their area of the city, each mayor. And each mayor would be in competition to outcompete the other mayor in that portion of the city. And I believe competition brings out the best in everybody. So the north side, which generates a lot of the revenue for the city as it currently stands, they generate a lot of the revenue, but then a lot of the revenue is spread out across the city, right? Now, when that revenue gets spread out across the city, your current mayor is going to be more focused on maintaining the revenue where it's being generated the most, which would be the north side. So they can't really productive-wise focus on creating and expanding out the south and the west side. That's why you would have two other mayors, because once that money is spread out, then the mayor of each of those sides of the city could be in charge of improving those areas. Yeah. I think, look, I don't know what the Constitution of the state says. You can always change the Constitution and say, see, this is where you all get all, twisted up in knots. You act like because somebody wrote something a long, long time ago, and you can't make revisions to it. Yeah, if you see something not currently working in present form, you can make revisions and revise things. Now, this is ridiculous. They'll use something and see it not working and keep on using it and see it not working and go, oh, it's not working, but we're going to keep on using it. Now, make that make some sense. So, yeah, you would have an election and the people in the south side of the city would vote for who they want to be the south side mayor. The people in the west side of the city would vote for who they want to be the west side mayor. And the people in the north side of the city would vote for who they want to be the north side mayor. Yeah. 3 mayors. And they would work together. It wouldn't be like the mayors would work in opposition, because they would be working to make each side of the city the best side. So the north side wouldn't want the west side to be the best side. So they would keep improving on the north side to ensure that the west side didn't leapfrog over them. The south side wouldn't want the west side to be better, so the south side would keep building and improving to make sure they don't leapfrog over them. And then if one leapfrogs over the other, then they're going to try to copy what they did to get back in charge again, right? Yeah. And the residents of the south side would want to make sure they have the best mayor to represent them, because they would want to defeat the north side and be better. Yeah. Yeah, competition. Exactly. And then nobody gets neglected. Because right now, things are getting neglected in Chicago. And I don't think it's the current mayor's fault. No. It's just too much, y'all. Yeah. And then you got Texas sending in all of these new migrants to the city, not informing the city where they're going to send them to. You all just say, oh, Texas is being inundated, so it can become Chicago's problem too. Yeah, but there's a way to do it. You can pick up a phone and say, hey, we're going to drop these people off in Cicero. We're going to drop these people off in Skokie. We'll drop these people off on Wacker Drive. They're just dropping buses of people off everywhere, and nobody even knows they're coming. Now that's not, that's setting people up for disaster, is what they're doing. Exactly. In Texas, they're coming in mostly from one area, Eagle Pass. So Texas knows where they're coming in from. Chicago, if you're just dropping people off on buses every which way, they don't even know. So Texas is being disingenuous when they say that they're being inundated. No, they're coming in from one area. The places where they're sending people to after they get to Texas are being inundated. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they're doing it to give the cities more difficulty. See, this is the whole Republican Democrat thing. Yeah, and this is why the average citizen doesn't fuck with politics. Because this doesn't benefit the citizen that this is happening. No, not at all. Yeah, the residents, the communities don't know that these folks are coming. If they're afforded, what they're supposed to be afforded, which is notice, then they wouldn't have a problem. But they're not giving any notice. These people just show up. Yeah, exactly. Right. And then they're trying to cause division between the people already there in the community and the new migrants. Yeah. So they're not even wanting to set people up on a way to be welcome friendly. Yeah. And these are the same people that say they don't think America is a bully culture country. I say that all the time. Americans bully a lot. Exactly. And they say, oh no, you're making that up. You're exaggerating. Case in point. I can give you so many examples of where they do this. So many examples. Yeah, exactly. So each side of that city needs different things, right? The north side doesn't need exactly what the south side needs. The south side doesn't need what the north side needs. The west side doesn't need what the south side needs. Yada yada yada. If you have each side of the city with their own mayor, they're going to be able to tell you, the residents, exactly what you need and be able to build exactly what you need. Yeah, because they'll be in charge. You won't just have to go to one mayor. Say you live on the west side of Chicago and the mayor's office is on the south side or the north side, but you don't have a car. How are you going to get to the mayor's office? See, it's not even convenient for a lot of the residents. This would localize and make it more convenient for the residents. Yeah, you heard what I just said. You're trying to play stupid. You live on the west side. You don't have a car. The mayor's office is on the south side or the north side. How are you going to get there? Sometimes public transportation stops running or you have a job. Yeah. Maybe you need to go after your job. Yeah. You're going to take all those buses, and then what if you get there and you can't meet with any representatives that day? They tell you to come back tomorrow. Exactly. If the west side had their own mayor, I guarantee you the west side would be productive. If the south side had their own mayor, the south side would be productive. As it stands right now, really, the north side has the mayor because that's what generates the money. And what the mayor does is they send all the money out to the different parts of the city. But there's nobody there on the south and west side to grab it and do anything with it. So it just sits there. They say that, oh, this part of the city doesn't get funded. No, it does get funded. But there's no management in place in that part of the city to do anything with the resources. This is often what happens. That money goes uncollected, unclaimed, and then it goes back into the city coffers. And the only side of the city that gets developed, renovated, is the north side. Yeah. Because it's generating the money. So the people in the south side and the west side of the city say, oh, well, the north side generates the money. So, of course, the north side is going to have the most things. All the while not knowing that the south side could have things too. But you just don't have anybody in place to make it happen. This would put that person in place, a mayor. Yeah. Because I don't believe one mayor can run the whole city of Chicago. No, it's too big. It's too big. The size of the city are huge. Huge. And I can tell you things that the north side exclusively needs, the south side needs, and the west side. Okay? I can tell you exclusive things that each side of the city needs. So this is the three-mayor Chicago theory. If you're just joining, this is a weird, spooky theory. Some people are going to say, oh, this is some kind of new age, modern theory. I really don't care what they say. They can't peg this left or right, so they got to come up with some kind of crazy pegging of this. It really isn't partisan now. It's just about resource allocation and how to manage it best. Because, technically, we as Americans, this is a side note, we as Americans do not do a good job with resource allocation management. Other countries do a hell of a lot better than us. And you know why we don't do that good of a job doing it in the bigger cities? Because we don't have the resource personnel to do it. That's what they never tell you. Yeah. Because if everybody's headquarters up in the north, and I live in the west, I'm not going to go up in the north to see you motherfuckers. Yeah, Then they say, oh, well, we'll send some personnel down to the west. Okay, follow me on this, because you got to listen to this now. They'll send people down to the west, but those people are familiar with the north side's concerns. So when you start talking about the west side's concerns, their brain is going to think, okay, this is a west side problem. Can't you solve it? Because we're already on the north side and we don't have this problem. Whereas if they had their own personnel in place, they wouldn't have to worry about tracking down folks from the north side to send them to the west side. They would already have their people. Yeah. And they would have the people they wanted in their community. See, if I live on the north side, this is also what doesn't get said. If I live on the north side of Chicago and I work for the whole entire city, but I live on the north side, do I give a fuck what those motherfuckers have on the west side? I don't live on the west side. I don't know anybody on the west side. I know people on the north side. All my favorite bars are on the north side. All my favorite clubs are on the north side. My friends live on the north side. I work for the city. I got to deal with the west side, but I don't know a goddamn person on the west side. Now, do you think someone with that type of bias already built in, based off of the mechanism of the city and how it operates, can do a fully thorough job for the entirety of the city? No, they can't. They don't live in that community. Yeah, this would empower the people who actually live in those communities to be their own representative for how they want to utilize their resources. Absolutely. Yeah, you say more politicians equals more problems. Well, so you want fewer politicians is what you're saying? So that means there will be fewer problems? Really? You really think so? I don't know about that. Don't look at them as politicians so much as resource agents. Because now you'll have more resource agents in an area where you actually live, who actually live in the area. So they'll be in your better interest to serve you. I mean, they're going to want a better community because they live there already. If you don't live on the west side, what interest do you really have in caring about that being as good or better than your community? You don't. Or else you live on the west side, right? Yeah. Exactly. And then you got to know what each side of the city needs, okay? So let's talk about that. The north side of Chicago. What does the north side of Chicago need, okay? I would be the east side mayor of Chicago, by the way. Somebody said there is no east side. It's a joke. That's the water. Yeah, it's a joke. I would be the mayor of the water. You know, lighten up, you all. Yeah, get a little bit of a sense of humor, after all. Can't take ourselves too seriously. The north side, what does it need? Okay. The north side of Chicago has a lot. Let's start off there. It has a lot. But there's one thing in particular I think it lacks, where they could use a lot more of. Social clubs for young women. Social clubs for young women. That's needed on the north side of Chicago. They don't have very many. They might have a few, but they don't have very many. And they definitely don't have enough. Because you can have some, but not enough. And they need more social programs. Social clubs for young women in the north side, yeah. Well, I don't constitute bars as social clubs. Clubs I think of as groups of individuals getting together and collectively doing something with the members. Yeah. That's a real club. Socializing is going to a bar. So the social club could get together and say, you know what? This Saturday, everybody who's a member, we're going to frequent this bar. Yeah. Yeah. So social clubs are about membership. Socializing is about doing the activity. Because some people might get it confused. We just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Yeah. So the social clubs would have membership. Yeah. Well, after you hit a certain age, you're not qualified to be in the Boys and Girls Club anymore. That's why they call it the Boys and Girls Club. Duh. Yeah. We're not talking about girls. I said young women. Social clubs for young women. Not girls. Women. Young women. Okay? Yeah, and these would be membership clubs. Right. Something like the VFW. Exactly. Wow, you read my mind. Somebody gets a brownie cookie today. Yeah, something like the VFW. Exactly. Back in the day, we used to have a lot of social clubs. Not so much anymore. And see, this is why people don't know each other too much anymore, because there's no social club. Yeah, and this would be membership based. Absolutely, membership based. The North Side definitely needs that for young women. Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, say for instance, you work in the tech field and you want to move into the healthcare field. If you have a social club and you have members from all different industries and professions, then you get to talk about what you do, what they do, and maybe you might end up wanting a job switch or, you know, use that person as a reference. It's a lot that comes with social club membership. It's a lot. Maybe somebody in the club, you know, has a friend and somebody in the club is single and their friend is single and they introduce each other. It's a lot you can do in social clubs. Yeah. At the very least, you can go to the bowling alley on a Friday night at 8 p.m. and get drunk and bowl. Yeah. Yeah. It's fun. Social clubs are fun. I love them. Anyhow, that's what the North Side needs. A lot of social clubs for young women. Young professional women. Because young women want to socialize. And there's nobody really to socialize with them. And outside of co-workers, but everybody's working from home virtually now. So social clubs would be some place where young professional women could gather and socialize. Yeah. Yeah. Membership based. So you wouldn't just invite any old kook off the street because it would be membership based. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they could take trips to Aruba together. You know, you would have a built-in community, like a tribe or something like that. Exactly. Yeah. They definitely need social. Because when I was on the north side, and this was a long, long time ago, I went to house parties. And you know, the people that come to house parties, I'm not going to lie, it's a certain type of folk to come to house parties to do a certain type of thing. And, you know, you're sitting there, you know, you're having a good time and stuff, and you're chatting and talking with folks. And you're like, the more you do that, that becomes like a social club. Because you see the same type of folks. You see the same people over and over again. So I always hung out with the same type of folks. Yeah. And so I thought that it turned out well for me. I don't know. Yeah. So I thought that was something that was neat. But that was organic. It wasn't like something that, you know, we sat around and did a piece of paper and wrote, hey, we're going to hang out. No, it was organic. Yeah. So social clubs, I think, are the most important thing on the north side. Now we get to the west side. What does the west side of Chicago need? Now, think about it like this. The north side has sports, the west side has sports, and the south side has sports. They don't need sports on the west side. They got the Blackhawks and the Bulls, if I'm not mistaken, at the United Center. Okay, so they got sports. The West Side is underdeveloped, in my opinion. Vastly underdeveloped. Very impoverished. Yeah, very impoverished and underdeveloped. Now, what would I propose for the West Side of Chicago if I were the mayor? Drum roll, please. This is going to sound completely insane, what I would propose. The residents would say, what are you talking about? They wouldn't get it. Nobody would really get it right off the bat. But long term, they would understand it. Big time. I would propose a living technological museum. Yeah. A living technological and science museum for the West Side. Now, you say, why a museum? Well, firstly, it's someplace to go. Outside of sports, there's not too much to do on the West Side. I'm just saying. A museum would attract a lot of visitors from the different parts of the city. So think about it like that. The North Side would visit, the South Side would visit, and you would have West Side residents visiting a museum. A living science and technology museum. I don't think anything like that in the country exists. Yeah. Wait till you hear the details. Nothing like this exists in the country. So it's a living science museum. So when we say living, things are always constantly changing. You know, the building is actually alive. It's always changing. So say for instance you have a whole bunch of artifacts. If people wanted to donate artifacts to the museum from other countries, you know, they could donate it to the museum. And it would stay on display for a certain amount of time. And then those artifacts would be given back to their owners. And new artifacts would be brought in on display. So it's always constantly changing. Yeah, it's never the same. And the science portion you would have inside where you're actually developing new things. Whatever those things might be. The sky's the limit. You want to develop, you know, sophisticated AI technology. You can do it at the museum. Yeah, you could actually go to the museum and develop science stuff. That's how I would have it set up. Like if you're a really smart kid, say you're from Taiwan, and you know how to make chips, you could make the chips in the museum for free. I mean, you would pay the admission, but for free you could go there and make chips, do anything, robots, anything. Yeah. A living science and technology museum on the West Side. The whole world would come and see that shit. Everybody would come. Yeah. So the West Side would quickly generate a lot of revenue. Quickly. And that revenue could be spent to develop other things on the West Side. Yeah. Restaurants. You could open up all kinds of things with that revenue. Yeah. I would go to a living science and technology museum. I don't know about you. Nothing like that exists. So, could the West Side pull it off? Well, of course the West Side could pull it off. Yeah. Yeah, the West Side could pull that off. You know, they got the builders now. They got the Venezuelans. Nobody is more, on a side note, you all this talk about the migrants, you better shut up and see a come up when you see one. I know something about Latin America, a little bit something about Latin America. The Venezuelan migrants. Venezuelans are some of the most ingenuity. They have a lot of ingenuity, okay? They can build just about anything. Whatever you tell them to build, they can build it. It's crazy. Yeah. That's the little low-key secret why everybody wants Venezuelans in Latin America in their country. Because they know they can build any old shit. The Venezuelans can build anything. Trust me, I know. I got a lot of Venezuelan folks that I know. They can build anything. You tell them, hey, we want to build a living science and technology museum. They'll build that shit from scratch. And it'll be real nice too. I'm telling you. And they can build it for cheap. Because, whatever you all choose to pay them, hopefully it would be decent. But it'd be probably 10, 20 times more than they get paid in Venezuela right now. Yeah. So if I had Venezuelans, boy, they know how to fix cars. They know all that shit. They know how to fix cars. They know how to fix homes. They know how to fix everything. The Venezuelans. Yeah, they're the most productive folks in Latin America. Low-key, nobody ever really wants to talk about it. They got some ingenuity skills up the wazoo. Believe you me, I've seen what they can build. I know. Yeah. Well, yeah, they could build a living science and technology museum in no time, too. Yeah, it could be up and running pretty quickly. I'm just saying. You got the people that's willing to build. They got the skill. All you got to do is, design the blueprint. Yeah. And they can just like, do. Before you know it, I guarantee you, under a year and a half, they would have a whole big ass museum developed. Under a year and a half. Yeah. Couple hundred Venezuelans, yep, can do it in under a year and a half. And it'll look like something, it'll look like the Tesla plant out there in California. But it'll look better. It'll look better, I kid you not. Child, they could build a Pentagon. Facts. The Venezuelans could build a Pentagon. But the Americans might have a problem with that. They'd be like, we can't have them build their own Pentagon inside our country. You know what I'm talking about. They would have a problem with that. But the Venezuelans could build it, yeah. Yeah, it's like Bob the Builder. Yes, he can. Yeah, the Venezuelans can build any shit. I'm telling you. So, you could get that done on the west side in no short order. And that would be a good thing for the west side. A living science and technology museum. The south side. What does the south side need, you say? Because somebody said they can't think of anything the south side needs. Really not. Well, let's recap. The north side, I said they need more social clubs for professional young women. They definitely need social clubs. And in those clubs, those young women, they're going to take off and do whatever. Yeah, it'll be great for them. And then I said the west side, a living science and technology museum. Yeah, that'd be really good for them. Now the south side. What does the south side of Chicago need? This might be simplistic, but it's very underrated. The north side has two sports teams. The Chicago Bears, which is football, and the Chicago Cubs, baseball. The west side has two sports teams. The Chicago Blackhawks, hockey, and the Chicago Bulls, basketball. The south side, they only have one sports team. The Chicago White Sox. Now, I think the south side of Chicago needs another sports team. I'm standing on that. Where are all my sports fans? How did you all let this happen? Such rampant discrimination. The north side has 2 sports stands. The west side has 2 sports stands. The south side only 1. Somebody said the Chicago Fire, the soccer. Are they on the south side? I'll have to look into that. Maybe. No, I'm thinking something bigger than soccer though. You know, football, basketball, hockey, those are major. I think the south side needs something like, well, they have a baseball, football, I don't know. You know, you got the Bears. Basketball, you got the Bulls. Maybe another football team. Maybe another football team. Because you think about it like this. In New York, you got the Jets and the Giants, right? Both football. In California, you got the 49ers and Oakland, right? And the Raiders. Yeah. The Raiders and the 49ers. Maybe the South Side needs another football team. The Bears and who? Yeah. Because the Bear, I'm trying to think of what else Chicago has. Bears and what else? We tend to like Bears because we got the Cubs, the Bears, Blackhawks, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I can't think of a good football team name, but a football team, yeah. A football team for the South Side, yeah. I think that would work. You know, you're thinking about generating more revenue. A lot of people would come and see another football team. Yeah, they would still go to the north side and see the Bears, but then they would come to the south side when the south side team is playing. You know, when the Jets are playing the Giants, when the Giants are at home, people who are Jets fans go and root for the Giants. Don't let them fool you about that shit. People who are fans of the Giants, when the Jets lose and they're not in, they switch to be Giants fans if they're in the playoffs. Facts, because they're rooting for New York at that point. Facts, they want New York to make that money. Exactly. So it would be the same thing with this. It's like, no, you said that's not true because you don't know sports. Okay, I'm not saying you become an ardent fan. You're still a fan of your team. That's not what I'm saying. You're still a fan of your team. I'm saying as a money proposition, if the Giants are in the Super Bowl and the Jets aren't, you're telling me you're not going to root for the Giants to win and you live in New York? Okay, I don't think you know what you're talking about. That's an interesting debate. I'm not saying you have to go out and buy a jersey and become a fan of the Giants. I'm saying you're going to root for your home team because it's more money for your team if they win and where you live. Yeah. The Super Bowl party is going to be in your state, near you. Whereas if San Francisco 49ers win, it's going to be all the way in San Francisco, nowhere near New York. Now you're telling me you'd rather have the party in San Francisco than New York? I don't buy that. See, yeah, I'm not saying you have to be a diehard fan. I'm saying you root for your home team when somebody's out and your favorite team is out and another team from your city is in. Yeah. I don't know too much about sports, but that's what I would do. Yeah, if I were a Jet fan, but the Giants were in, the New York Giants were in the Super Bowl, playing up against the 49ers or Kansas City, and I lived in New York, I would root for the Giants, even if I were a Jet fan, because I would want the Super Bowl party to be in New York. The Giants can be damned. I want the party to be in New York so I can get drunk and maybe go have sex, right? People are basic. I'm not talking about like a diehard fan. Right. Yeah, he's talking like a fan, like a fanatic. I'm not talking like a fan. I'm talking like a basic person. You want to get drunk when the party is in your state and have sex. Yeah, exactly. Correct. Yeah, I know I'm not talking anything crazy real out of left field. I know this is sane. Yeah. No. Yeah, people just be trying to gaslight me like I don't know what I'm talking about. Just because I'm not a sports aficionado doesn't mean that. Right. You said the example you gave makes a lot of sense now. Yeah, I know it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you want the Super Bowl party to be in your state. Yeah, even if you're not a fan of the team. Exactly. Exactly. If the Cubs are not in the World Series, but the White Sox are in the World Series, you're telling me because you're a Cubs fan, you wouldn't be happy if the White Sox won the World Series? And the World Series party was in your city still? Yeah. You're not going to go out to the bars and celebrate and have a good time? Really? Because it's not your preferred team? Yeah. Maybe some people wouldn't do it, but I think I would. Yeah, I'm not that diehard of a fan. If there's a lot of people happy in the city because somebody won from the city, I'm going to enjoy the victory for the city. Yeah. I won't let anybody know that I'm a Cubs fan. You don't have to let anybody know. You just got there to have a good time. Exactly. So this would be a second football field, a second football team on the south side. It can't be the Bears. Yeah, there's too many Bears in Chicago. You got the Cubs and the Bears. It can't be the Bears. Bulls either. It can't be a bull. I don't know. Chicago would have to come up with a different type of animal. Ah. You got the St. Louis Rams, so you can't use a ram. I don't know. The Chicago Magicians. Is that a good football team? The Chicago Magicians? Yeah. Yeah, can you imagine the Oakland Raiders playing up against the Chicago Magicians? Yeah, like a magician that commits magic. Yeah. I don't know. Chicago Magicians. I don't know. I don't like that. Yeah. Kansas City Chiefs up against the Chicago Magicians. I don't know. You might have to think of another name. I don't think that one's going to stick. Yeah, that's like changing from Twitter to X. I don't think that's going to stick either. So you all, this is a kind of out there theory that nobody is really theorizing about. I make the case that you can't really have one mayor when you have these big, ginormous metropolitan areas. You need to break it up and divvy that up because the resources are going to be generated at a certain area of these cities, and that's where the political class is going to be most likely housed, and they're going to want to continue to keep getting that generation of wealth in that area, which makes sense. Spread it out over the whole city. The only problem is when it gets to the disadvantaged areas, there's no personnel in place to prioritize and, commit those resources to what's needed. Yeah. So if you have a mayor of the south side, a mayor of the west side, and a mayor of the north side, you have 3 different mayors all working in collaboration to make their side of the city the best. Yeah. So they would all be pooling from the same money. The money would get divvied up throughout the city like it already does. But now you would have the personnel in place to utilize the resources. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, in the case of Chicago, you would probably have 3 Democrat mayors. The west side of Chicago is going to elect a Democrat. The south side of Chicago is going to elect a Democrat. And the north side of Chicago is more than likely going to elect a Democrat. The Republicans, I don't want to make it too political, but the Republicans are not going to own shit in Chicago. Nobody's voting Republican in Chicago. No. Yeah, nobody's voting Republican. That's not a thing. Never has. On a side note, I my principal, political teeth were cut and chopped in Chicago. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah, I remember working with a young woman by the name of Rebecca. Okay, Rebecca really was, she knew her shit. So this was during the mass deportation protests, because this was back when Barack Obama was president, and they were doing that whole mass deportation bullshit, using ICE to try to round up people who they speculated were undocumented. And we were out there protesting against that shit, because that's not cool. And anyway, Rebecca was like, I'm going to chain myself to this area. It was Little Village, but she was going to have the chain stretch all the way out to another area, and the other person was going to chain themselves there. It was some big, huge ass territory, and they were going to glue themselves so they couldn't. It was some important building that was processing people or trying to process people, and they were going to glue themselves. And so Rebecca was the first person that really taught me, how to do politics and activism. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I remember. Oh, I got so many stories. I tell you all this story all the time. CPD chased me off of a university campus. They chased me off of a campus, and you're never gonna believe what they chased me off the campus for. Was I smoking marijuana? No, absolutely not. Was I trying to assault someone? Absolutely not. No, never. Not me. Had I just robbed someone of money? No, never. Not me. I had a clipboard in my hand with a voter registration form, and I was trying to register young people to vote. And Chicago police said that I couldn't do that. Yeah. I said, well, I've gotten permission from the school that I can be here to register people to vote. And they said, you can't be inside the building. I said, really? I'm not trying to encourage anybody to vote for any candidate. I had no candidate material whatsoever. None. These were just voter registration forms to register people to vote. And people were coming up to me registering to vote. Yeah, facts. And they called CPD. And CPD told me I could not be at the college registering people to vote. So I went outside. You're never going to believe this. I went outside into the parking lot. They followed me in the parking lot because people were coming up to me and was trying to fill out the form in the parking lot. I said, I'm no longer in the building. I'm in the parking lot. You're telling me I can't be in the parking lot? They said, you have to be off the college campus. I said, wow, they really are trying to make it difficult for young people to vote. Because, yeah, you would have thought I was committing some type of crime the way they tried to persecute me. And all I was doing was trying to get young people to register to vote. No, this was years ago. This was years and years ago. This was back in 2014. Years ago. Yeah. I never will forget I had to run off of DePaul campus because they chased me. They chased me off the campus. Yes, Chicago police chased me off of DePaul campus, DePaul University campus, because I was trying to register young DePaul students to vote. Absolutely, this is a fact. I am not making this up, you all. This is a fact. Chased me off just because I was trying to register people to vote. Yeah. Well, in some cases, the reason why you register people at universities is because maybe they live in a different part of the country, but they can vote where they attend university. So they might have to switch their address so their registration form can come to their dorm address. Yeah. So say for instance you go to University of Wisconsin-Madison, but you live in Vermont. You can vote in Wisconsin. Yeah. You just need to change your address so your voter registration form comes to your dorm in Wisconsin. A lot of young people don't know this. And so I was informing them of this. And many of them were doing this. And the Chicago police showed up because somebody called them. You don't even have to wonder who called. You already know. Somebody called and they showed up and they were like, "What are you doing?" I explained myself. I was calm. I showed them the clipboard. I gave them all the information. They said, "You can't be here and do this." I said, "Is there any law against that?" And they said, "No, there's no law against it. But you just can't be here and do it." Yeah, 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 yeah. What does that tell you all about how much they want people to fully exercise their democratic right and exercise their vote and participate in their democracy? Yeah, they make it super difficult. You know, if they really wanted everybody to vote, why make it super difficult, right? That ought to tell you something right there. Because if everybody gets registered and participates, certain people might not keep their jobs who are not doing a good job, right? Yeah. If young people come out and vote for people who are different than the current crop, they might lose their jobs, so they can't have that. And I don't want too many people registered and voting. I'm just telling you all how it really works, so you really know what's going on. Yeah, absolutely. I was persecuted at DePaul University for registering students to vote. And I wasn't coming up to any students. I just had the clipboard and we had a big table and we said voter registration at this table. And we had some candy and we were playing some music. Yeah. At this time, Lady Gaga was very big on the radio, so we were playing a lot of Lady Gaga songs. Yeah. Couldn't no. I wasn't affiliated with the Democrat Party on campus or the Republican Party. This was just somebody trying to register voters. No party affiliation. I was just had a clipboard of voter registration. The job I was doing, I had to register a lot of people to vote every week because they were keeping quotas. And so every week I had to go to different colleges in Chicago and try to register a certain amount of young people to vote. Yeah. I got run off of a bunch of college campuses. It wasn't just DePaul. Somebody said, "How many campuses did you get run off of?" Kennedy King. I went to true story. See, this is nice you are asking these questions because now I can share these stories. I went to Kennedy King College doing the same thing with registration forms. Somebody in admissions came out and spoke with me. Didn't like that I was doing it. He worked in admissions at the college. I don't know if he's still there. I don't remember his name. He worked at admissions. He came out and said, "You can't do this. You can't register people to vote." I explained to him what I was doing. He said, "It doesn't matter. Take that table and take the..." You know, he talked to me like I was like mud, like I was dirt. He said, "Take that table up and take those forms and get the hell up on out of here." That's how he talked to me for trying to register people to vote at Kennedy King College. Now, most of y'all don't know, but Kennedy King College is for very transient students, people who work multiple jobs, and you know they're trying to go back to school and get a certificate or some kind of degree. Yeah, generally is working adults. Yeah. So a lot of these people are very low income, you know, and they have a lot of work going on. So they might not know too much about the election. So I'm out there registering them to vote right before the election. So I'm telling him, hey, the election is coming up. This is a big election. The governor is up for election. And he heard me talking to one black woman. And I was telling her, she was like, I'm not going to vote. None of these politicians do anything. And I said, you know what? Even if you don't vote, it's best to be registered. Just in case. Because you could always change your mind. And she was like, you know what? That's a good idea. I've never registered to vote before. And she was like, how long is this going to take me now? And I said, really? It takes you about 30 seconds to do it. Because all you need to do is this, 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 and this. So he was watching me. I was wondering why he was standing there. I was watching him too. Every now and then I was taking a peek. He saw her fill it out. And I said, thank you very much, ma'am. You're registered to vote. And she said, wow, it's that quick to register? I had no idea. I said, yep. I just mail this back. And then you register. You're going to get your card where you listed your address. After she walked out, I kid you not, after she walked away, he ran up to me. He made a beeline. And he said, get that table up and get those flyers and get the hell up on out of here. I said, I'm just registering people. He said, I don't care. Get out of here. Kennedy King College. Now, most of the students who go are black Americans. Yeah. So maybe he didn't want those type of students to be registered to vote. Who knows what it was? I don't know. But I knew it was weird. Yeah. Multiple colleges kicked me off. DePaul, Kennedy King. I ran at some college. I can't remember where. I ran away from CPD at one of the colleges. I had to run. I had to run. I had to hop a fence. I told these stories to Rebecca. Rebecca was cracking up laughing. Me and Rebecca go way back. Yeah, I want, you know, on a side note, this election is going to be tough. And you know, somebody like Rebecca, that bitch took no prisoners. Yeah, pardon my French, but that bitch took no prisoners. In politics, she knew that shit inside and out. Yeah. She was like an organizer slash activist slash I give two shits about these people. I'm going to do what we need to do to save our community kind of person. You know, if worse comes to worse and this election is close, I might have to call Rebecca. Because I still got these contacts. I might have to call Rebecca and say, hey, we might have to go down to North Carolina or Georgia and make sure that Donald Trump doesn't win. And Rebecca would be game on for it. Yeah, I think she's got a kid now. Yeah, she's got a kid now. Maybe married. I don't know. I know for sure she's got a kid. But hey, she would be gung-ho for it. Yeah. I'm telling you. She was out there when they were doing the mass deportations. She was out there ready to get into fights with the ICE agents. This was back in 2014. Rebecca was about ready to get arrested because she was getting up in the ICE agent's face about those deportations. And they threatened her with arrest. They said, we're the feds. We can arrest you. She said, I don't give a fuck. Leave my community. That's what Rebecca, because she lived over, at that time she lived in a little village area, around that area. Yeah, she lived around that area. And they were coming in trying to separate the families, trying to deport like a mother or the father. Yeah, because the children were American, but maybe one of the parents weren't. Yeah, they were trying to separate them. Rebecca was, yeah, she was fire, buddy. Yeah, the ICE agent, I never will forget because I was with her that day. The ICE agent told her, get out of my face because I'm about to arrest you. And she said, I don't give a fuck. Get out of my community. You don't belong here. Yet she was standing right up in his face. Cursing. They were going back and forth. He didn't arrest her. I didn't see him arrest her that day, but she was up there. And she worked on a number of campaigns. We worked on a number of campaigns and issues. Yeah. I tell you what. You know, prisoners in Chicago and Cook County Jail can vote. Rebecca was one of the first people who I ever met that said that that would be a good idea if we can get inmates to vote all across the country. And she modeled that program in Chicago. She didn't create it, but she gave out the initial idea, and it became a reality in Chicago. Yeah, Cook County Jail, they can vote. Yeah. She said inmates should be able to vote all across the country in jail. That's what Rebecca said. She got it done in Chicago. Yeah. Child, anytime she was on a campaign, she would always call. She was like, "Hey, you want to come?" I'd be like, "Yeah," because I knew it was going to be hella fun. Oh, I knew it was going to be hella fun. Yeah, we were going to have music. We were going to dress up in costumes. I didn't know I was going to be running from the Chicago Police Department, but hey, you never know. Exactly. Yeah, good times. Yeah, those were good times indeed. Let me tell you something. I would come back in a week. I would have, on average, about 86 people registered every week. I did this for something like 3 or 4 months. 86 people would get registered by me per week. And I was low because there were some people getting 200, 300 people registered a week. But they were working at the bigger universities. I wanted the smaller little colleges because I was going to university at the time myself. So I needed to do this on the side. Yeah. I was getting about 86 people per week. And here's the thing though, because you think, oh, that sounds super easy. Here's the thing, they had other organizers at these colleges all the time, even when I wasn't working. And they couldn't get as many voter registration at these colleges. So they would pick the bigger ones where they could get more people. They're like, you're going to be at these smaller ones, you're not going to get as many people. Child, I was outside in the parking lot. Hey, you want to register to vote? They're like, no, that takes too long. I'm like, no, it takes 30 seconds. They're like, it's not going to make a big difference anyway. They're all trash, these politicians. I'm like, yeah, but just be registered. You know, young people, we have to register. We have to get ready to vote. Like, if we vote, then we can get a lot of new people. This was when you could say all of that kind of shit and people would listen to you. People would stop eventually and do it. And then they would I always remember this. They would always say, wow, that was quick. I didn't know it was that easy to register. Because when you have the form and you have to fill it out with a pencil, all you really need to do is put your name, your address, and that's about it. Your email address, that's it. Then they just mail out the form to you, your registration card. So people always thought it was a much longer process. It's not. It's very short. So I would have people, I tell them, I can get you registered in 30 seconds. Because some of the women, especially the middle-aged women, they were like, I don't have time, you know. I got to go grocery shopping. I got to go get my kids. I'd be like, man, I can have you done in 30 seconds. And then they're like, okay, give me the clipboard. Let me do this for you. And do it, and zzz, done. I'd be like, you're done. I'll mail it out to you. They're like, that's it? I thought it was going to be, I told you I could have you done in 30 seconds. Yeah, I was like, I had to come up with different pitches and strategies. I was like, I can have you done in 30 seconds. Come on, just register to vote. 30 seconds. It worked a lot of times, yeah. On average, it would take people about 30 to 40 seconds to register to vote. No, they want to make this difficult for the American citizen. They want to make it very difficult for the American citizen because they want all of us, or a lot of us, I won't say all, but they want a lot of us to abdicate our responsibility and our power. Because I was stressing to young people, this is about youth power. We're the largest generation, millennials and Gen Z combined. We're the largest generation of American voters in the country. If we voted our numbers, we could vote everybody that we wanted into political office. But because we don't vote our numbers, elderly people continue to outvote us, they tend to want to vote older politicians into office. So I said, if young people vote, we're going to vote for younger people. Look, it makes sense. America needs younger presidents, in my opinion. Yeah, you know, Barack Obama was 47 when he got elected president. Kennedy was in his early 50s. We need younger presidents. Younger presidents. Because they're more in tune with the time. They're going to know what's trending, what's not, where the mood of the country is. You know, no offense to elderly politicians and statesmen and stateswomen, but here's the thing. They should work in an advisory role. They should advise the younger politician. Yeah, exactly. Somebody like AOC. Yeah, exactly. She should be president. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully soon. Because you need younger people. Oh my goodness, definitely. And women. Oh, look, I'm going to have to do a whole video about that. The next, I want to say for sure, the next 9 presidents of this country should definitely be women. The next 9 presidents in a row, in succession, in America, they should be women, for sure. The next 9 presidents, I'm going to repeat that, because some of you are going to be like, that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, you've had 46 different men, right? You can have 9 that are all women. Yeah. Doesn't matter what ethnicity. The next 9 should be women. Yeah. The reason I say 9 is because it's going to take 9 women to correct the other 46 men's bullshit. Yeah, 9 women can clean up what 46 men have messed up. Yeah. So, you all, this is the 3 Chicago mayor theory. North side has a mayor, south side has a mayor, west side has a mayor. The west side needs a living science and technology museum. Everybody would come from the entire world to see it. South side, they need another football team. Yeah. I don't think the Chicago Magicians is going to work. I don't even think people like magic in Chicago. They have the magic shows in Chicago. Hardly nobody goes to see that stuff. Don't pretend. Somebody said they go and see the magic show. I've been to the magic shows before. It'll be like 5 people, and 4 of them will be other magicians trying to steal the other magicians' tricks, watching to steal the other tricks. Regular people don't go to magic shows. Not in the Midwest. I don't know what they do on the West Coast. They probably do on the West Coast, but not in the Midwest. Not when I was growing up. See, I'm talking about my experience too. So it might be different now. Maybe more people are into magic now. I don't know. And the North Side needs more social clubs for young professional women. Yeah. Young professional women need social clubs. Absolutely. Membership exclusive. Yeah. I wouldn't want any old Tom, Dick, and Harry walking in off the street. Yeah. Well, you have gyms. But think about it. A gym is not going to be a great place to really meet new people. I mean, it could be, but gyms are for hookups. Yeah, you meet people to go and, shack up at the gym. Yeah, that's what it's known for. I don't know. Do people not do that anymore? I don't know what you all do. That's what it became known for. Social clubs is about membership. So we're thinking like the VFW. Yeah, or where you get together and play bingo every Thursday night. Senior citizen community clubs. Yeah, those kinds of clubs. Yeah. Well, they could get together and go bowling. What's wrong with getting together and going bowling? Because somebody said they wouldn't get together and do anything besides drink wine. Yeah, misogyny. The next 9 presidents of the United States might be bitches. Better get used to it. Yeah, misogyny. You say they wouldn't get together and do anything besides drink wine. What's wrong with that? You can have a wine tasting event. What's wrong with that? If that's what the club wants to do, one particular event. Now, if they wanted to do that all the time, they might become winos. It's their club. Maybe they want to be a wine club. You could have it specialized too. Think about it like that. Say you're into science and technology. You could have a science and technology club. Say you're into wine. You can have a wine tasting club. And then you can mingle into multiple different clubs. Like you can be a member of 2 or 3 or 4, however many clubs you want it to be. Yeah. So maybe the same woman who's in science and technology is in a wine tasting club too. She likes wine and science, right? Yeah, she does both. So that's what the North Side needs. And then you have 3 mayors. They're competing against each other. Yeah. Which is going to make the city better, right? Because if the West Side is competing against the South Side to be better, the South Side is going to want to maintain being better than the West Side. So they're going to want to make what? Improvements. Yeah. It's all about improvements. Exactly. Well, they'll say this is another way for more people who are unqualified to get a paycheck. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Do you work anywhere? Are you qualified for the work that you do? How would we know? Oh, because you said so? Oh, you said you're qualified for the work. Yeah, you probably have a problem with certain people getting a paycheck. I think that's what you really want to say. We won't say who, but I think that's what you really want to say. It would be up to the residents on the west side to elect the mayor, who they wanted. So the west side would vote for who they want to be mayor. Now, you're telling me that all the residents who live on the west side of Chicago would vote for somebody who's not qualified to be the mayor? Why would they do that? Why would they shoot themselves in the foot? They would want the best person they thought they could find on the west side to be mayor. Same with the south side. Same with the north side. You would want the best person that you thought could do the job to be mayor. Facts. Facts. You wouldn't want somebody that you didn't think was qualified because you want to do better than the other side of the city. Yeah, it would make better politicians, in fact, because competition makes everything better. Exactly. So you all is just a theory. It's a theory. Yeah, because they'll be like, oh, you know, this is a proposal. No, there's a difference between a proposal and a theory. A theory is just when you theorize what could work, what couldn't work. You don't have any definitive proof because it's just a theory. A proposal is when you lay out a plan. I say, I want there to be 3 mayors in Chicago. Did I ever say that in this entire video? Did I ever say I want? No. I said this is a theory. And then I went into detail about how maybe this would best suit all 3 sides of the city. That's a theory. That's not a proposal. You did not hear a proposal from me. You know, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people nowadays? All this time, you all, I've been talking for over an hour, and wouldn't you know, somebody that came in here and started listening heard a proposal. When at the very onset I said this is a theory. I even gave the theory a name, the three Chicago mayor theory. Now this person says it's a proposal. Where did you get that from? Yeah. If you just can't, this should be something that a lot of people try to practice. This is a proposal. This should be something that people like that try to practice. When you come into a conversation or a topic or any type of event late, don't speak as though you knew what was transpiring prior to arrival. Yeah. Just ask the other people, hey, what did I miss? And they might inform you. Or you can always watch it on the replay. But don't speak like you know what's happening. At no point in time did I say this is a proposal. I don't propose that the city of Chicago do anything. They can continue to do whatever the hell they want to. Yeah. This is just a theory of what would make governance better. In my opinion. It might not be the opinion of the city officials. This is my opinion. Yeah. This is a theory based off of what I think. Yeah. Yeah. Who do you think would be the best mayor? I don't know. I would have no way of knowing who would be the best. That would be dealt with through the competition. You can't determine who's going to be the best without the competition being in place. Yeah. I would say the West Side, because it's so underdeveloped, has a lot more potential and room for growth because it's underdeveloped. The South Side as well, to the North Side in comparison. But the North Side has a lot. So if you have a lot, you can expand on it and create more. If you give young professional women clubs, membership clubs, they're going to do all kinds of things. That's going to generate more money. Exactly. More business, entrepreneurship. So, you deal with what it is that you're working with. That's how I would see it. Yeah. I'm curious to see what folks in Chicago think about this. Because, these type of theories, ideas, these type of things don't get, much banter or discussion on social media. The things that get traction on social media are nonsensical. For the most part. Not always, but for the most part. This is going to have to require some deep level analysis and thinking, which a lot of people don't want to use, which is fine. This might not be your cup of tea. Perfectly fine. Yeah. Also, I think this would be, somebody said, would this be applicable for Los Angeles? Yeah, this would be applicable for Los Angeles. There's no way in the world I think one mayor can run the entirety of Los Angeles. Yeah. These, again, I said at the onset, but maybe you weren't here at the onset. These cities are behemoths. They're ginormous. And you're asking one person in a localized area, generally speaking, to govern over behemoth areas. Yeah. And for different subsets of the city that might not require the same things. That's a tall order you all ask for, of one mayor. I think you need more than one mayor in these bigger cities. Especially the ones with big different sides of the city. Like Chicago, the west side is huge. The south side is huge. The north side is huge. They're big. There's a lot of people on all the different sides. And I said I would be the mayor of the east side. Somebody said that's the water and didn't get the joke. Yeah, they would make me the mayor. But let me tell you something. The east side of Chicago would probably be the best. Let me tell you why. The water, doesn't the north, the south, and the west side need the water? Okay. So if I'm the mayor of the east side of Chicago, the water is going to be perfect. It's going to be the best tasting water ever. We're going to have the best treatment facilities for the water. We're going to have enough water for the south side, enough for the west side, enough for the north side. So I would probably be the favorite mayor. Yeah. So you all laugh about me saying I would be the mayor of the east side, but I would probably be the best mayor. Yeah. Anyway, you all, this is just a theory, I think we need to, on a side note, but this is serious too, I think younger people need to start tooling around, fiddling around with the frameworks already in place in this republic, but creating adaptations that work for a modern time. Yeah, sometimes people get stuck on the framework and can't make adaptations. This would be sort of kind of like, okay, we're looking at this, we're seeing that it's not working necessarily here and there, but it's working better over here. You make an addendum and an adaptation to the plan, to the blueprint, to make it work out better. A lot of people can't do this anymore. Yeah. Well, if there was issues with resource allocation, you would work that out. As the three mayors would work that out. They would get together, they would meet, and if the south side wasn't getting as much resources as the north side, or the north side wasn't getting as much as the west side, vice versa, they would get together and work that out. They would have access to the same budget. So it would be no more the west side residents complaining about, we're not getting adequate resources. And then the mayor saying, I'm sending you resources, and your side of the city still looks the same way because there's nobody over there to appropriate the resources adequately. And a lot of times the mayors know this, but they can't say that to the citizenry. They can't say, you don't have anybody over there that we can give the damn money to do anything. I would say that if I was mayor, but I'm not a politician. That's not political speech. You lose votes by telling the truth. Okay? But that's the honest truth. A lot of times these cities don't have enough adequate personnel in the parts of the communities that are most neglected. They don't. This is a fact. You all are trying to act like this is not the truth, but it is. This is the absolute truth. So this would take that issue out of the equation, Yeah, you'd have a mayor on the west side ready and able to receive the resources to do what's best for the west side. You'd have a mayor on the south side ready and able to receive the resources to do the best job for the south side. Yeah. And the north side would have a mayor ready and able to receive the resources to do the best for the north side. Absolutely. And that way nobody in the city feels like they're being shafted. Because everybody can go to their representative where they live and talk about their concerns. And guess what? The mayor would know because they live in the community. If I'm a mayor and I live on the south side and you come and tell me about the west side, I might listen to you, I might feel empathy for you, but I don't live in your community. It's a fact. This is a fact. Like, let's be real about this. That's not necessarily saying you're a horrible politician. It's just that you're going to have some blind spots. Anybody is going to have some blind spots. Yeah, even cars have blind spots. Exactly. If you don't know that community, You can listen to the residents' concerns, but you don't know what's going on over there because you don't live over there. You really have to live in an area, in my opinion. You really have to live in an area in order to know what's going to really, truly benefit the area. Because if you don't live there, you can hear different people tell you, but that's just their opinion. You would have to live in that area. Or the people that work in the office, you'd have to assign them to live in certain communities. Like if they assign Chicago personnel to live on the west side, to live on the south side, and then report back to the mayor what the south and west side needed, that would be a way to do it too. But as it stands now, you can work for the mayor's office and pretty much all of those people live on the north side. Yeah, you heard me right. Pretty much everybody that works for the mayor in Chicago lives on the north side. Handful of people on the south side, but mostly on the north side. I don't know of anybody working on the west side. Do you think I'm talking about the people that work in downtown, the city office buildings. You think they live on the west side of Chicago? Stop playing with me. See, this is, now we want to play games. I'm talking about the people that work in the downtown Chicago city office building. Do you think they live on the west side? I rest my case.